name is inspired off of hip-hop, feel me? To where probably if you minus rap music from my life, it wouldn't have been none positive.
It's thought-provoking and there's thought behind it.
It's smart. I mean, it's insightful.
It's a genre that uplifted and inspired so many of us.
NYC, dirty South, West Coast, Midwest.
But before hip-hop evolved into a worldwide sensation, it was influenced by some global Generation X themes. Let's back it up, shall we?
Back it up.
Welcome to the 1970s, a time in which unemployment, drug use, and gang violence were at an all-time high. Hip-hop culture was born in the heart of this delinquency, specifically in one of the more crime-ridden New York City boroughs, the South Bronx.
This is DJ Kool Herc, the father of hip-hop.
It's here that Clive Campbell, aka DJ Kool Herc, was credited with creating the first hip-hop track. Through isolating the instrumental portion of the hard funk records that he played on his two turntables, Campbell invented breakbeat DJing, a technique that disc jockeys all over the world would soon imitate. Like breakbeat DJing, this breakdancing became a universal element of hip-hop, this new Generation X subculture. But why? Why did hip-hop come out of this generation, and why did it attract such a large global following? Let's back it up again. Welcome to the 1960s, the final years of the baby boomer generation. We remember this decade as a time of protest, a time in which the African American community made huge advances towards civil rights. But when national iconic figures such as Malcolm X, Bobby Kennedy, and Martin Luther King Jr. were shot, the black community was left with no one, no role model, nothing except for the poverty and crime they were surrounded by in the streets. The youth was further discouraged when President Nixon implemented COINTELPRO, a series of covert FBI projects designed to infiltrate unfavorable political organizations such as the Black Panther Party. With national politics at an all-time corrupt, the youth was more politically apathetic than ever and needed to invest their faith in a new kind of nation. This came as Zulu Nation, the international hip-hop awareness group committed to the ideas of social justice and human rights. Afrika Bambaataa, the hip-hop artist who founded this organization, incorporated the mantra peace, unity, love, and having fun into his performances in order to give the lost and oppressed Gen Xers some direction. Through delivering a positive message and mobilizing the apolitical youth, Bambaataa became the hip-hop community's role model not only in the United States, but also in regions as diverse as France, Japan, Australia, South Korea, and South Africa. But why these countries? What global Generation X themes existed in these places that supported the establishment of hip-hop? And how was this art form altered when it reached these different regions? Let's look at two of them.
The hip-hop movement in South Africa provided Generation X with a perfect outlet for their political and racial views. Let's stop and think for a second. What caused this political and racial unrest in South Africa? The apartheid was the base of much of this unrest. The apartheid was a system of racial segregation that was enforced by the South African government.
My first head-on political experience was having to watch District 6 go from a place where I could take a walk to the public library and I could go opposite to the hospital, and I used to go up and down to school in George Golding, and slowly it just faded away. The houses were literally bulldozed in front of my eyes.
Many hip-hop artists use their growing influence to address these issues that affect them directly. The South African hip-hop group Prophets of the City went on a voter education tour prior to the first democratic elections, as well as touring 65 schools on their anti-drug tour. The Prophets of the City have certainly taken advantage of the voice the hip-hop movement has provided them with. Additionally, Africa Bambaataa, an American DJ in the 1970s, used his hip-hop influence to begin the Zulu Nation.
Bambaataa formed the Zulu Nation, a dedicated following of local hip-hop enthusiasts who organised parties and then put the money they made into community self-help projects.
The Zulu Nation had followers all around the world and pushed hip-hop to keep growing in countries everywhere.
We couldn't just walk up to somebody's wall and just start spray painting or whatnot. Things were kind of like a cultural difference altogether this side. There's one thing that we knew how to do was to rap.
We take this opportunity once more to pay tribute to the millions of Britons who through the years, and like others everywhere else in the world, stood up to say no to apartheid.
When the first democratic elections were held in South Africa, Nelson Mandela was elected the first black president.
Honor those who suffered for justice and freedom in our land.
Prophets of the City performed their song Excellence, the first black president, at Mandela's inauguration.
Believe that South Africa belongs to all who live in it, united in our diversity. May God protect our people.
We don't even have to be from the same country. We don't even have to speak the same language, and through hip-hop we can make a connection.
Now let's take a look at another country where hip-hop has had a totally different influence on the culture, Japan.